this computer. Hello, this is Sarah Palmer from the Kensington Library, reporting from home.
This is Linda Yao on site at Northeast Regional Library. We're open to the public.
Yes, and we're bringing you to Ashokan FLP, and we have a special guest again today. And it is, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name's Stan Hwang. I work as a programmer, and I'm here today to present my interpretation of the interactive fiction genre.
Visual novels! Yay! Huzzah!
All right.
So we wanted to start with a couple of questions first. So the first question was, how long have you been doing this kind of gaming?
A long time, on and off, maybe since I was like 9 years old.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
When that was the case, was it mostly through the choose your own adventure stuff, or was it different?
A little bit of that, but then my family also had an Apple II GS computer, which had some discs with text-based adventure games from a family friend.
Cool.
Ooh, that is old tech.
Yeah, and you'll see some examples of both of those things.
Okay.
And could you say, do you remember at this point what got you started being interested in the games?
I guess I just always liked trying to solve puzzles and just logical things. So, and I wasn't very coordinated with sports. So yeah. I guess that's basically why I got into that. It was something that I could get into and that I enjoyed.
It's sports for the mind.
Yeah, I couldn't do what all the normal kids did. So that was the next best thing.
No, I think of it as reading, but in another format.
Absolutely. And there's definitely some crossover that you'll notice, and we can kind of compare and contrast all the similarities and differences and interpretations.
Yeah, and specifically, we were wondering about crossovers with anime and manga fandom. Do you see much of that or overlap?
Only in potentially the visual novel aspect. But with the visual novel aspect, there's some opinion, because visual novel, the definition of a novel is just something general that you read from, the first page to the last page. And for some of the games that are considered visual novels, or most of them that have choices, all the choices pretty much revert back to the same storyline. So you don't really get as much of that interactive element as some people might be looking for. So if someone says that they're looking for something with interactive fiction and they know what interactive fiction is, unless they're looking for like a book or a book that's more engaging, a visual novel might not be a good first choice for that kind of preference. So it's kind of nuanced like that. So it just depends on if you like the reading part more, if you have a propensity for the reading part, as opposed to the choosing and some of the other stuff that goes on.
Well, you've created a presentation for us, and so I think now would be a good time to get it fired up.
Okay, great. So I'm going to give you guys some information about the interactive fiction genre, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me.
We'll reserve questions until the end.
Okay.
Unless there's something that really is a burning question.
And if you guys think I need to put any of these links out, just let me know. I might have to stop the slide for that, but that's okay.
I think getting the links at the end might be best. Because we don't have our participants in real time with us right now, so we can include it with the video, but it doesn't have to appear in the video.
Okay. Do you want me to put the links in? I mean, I might have to temporarily end the slideshow and put it back on.
No, that can be later. It can be after the show ends.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So these are examples of interactive fiction games, and I'm going to move this chat window or this video window off to the side so that you can kind of see everything more.
Yeah.
So
Actually, the view is okay for us. It just is different when you're the one sharing.
I see.
Mm-hmm.
I've not played all these games. I've only played some of them. I've played Maniac Mansion before and Adventure Escape Mysteries. So Adventure Escape Mysteries, it's a free app, and it can be also found in a couple of other formats. It's off of Steam. And for the apps, there's a whole series. So it's not just these 4 games in Adventure Escape Mysteries, but there's like Adventure Escape, other stuff, Hidden Ruins, and other names that I don't remember. A lot of them, they feature this character, Kate, and many different adventures. And basically, you'll see a screen like this here, and you're just trying to figure out what to click on, or what do you need to do in order to solve the game. Maniac Mansion, that's a typical classic interactive fiction game. Maybe people would call it an adventure game or puzzle game as well. So here, there's some more commands, but again, you're navigating from screen to screen, trying to figure out, is there anything you can do in this screen or that screen? And there's different stories or things that can happen depending on what you choose, etc.
Yeah. Do you have a sense of how old the oldest game of all of these?
The Pawn is definitely the oldest. You can tell by the, whoops, I need to go back.
Sorry.
About that. There we go. So I just need to not click. So there's the game, The Pawn, which I've never played. I just found it off of this wiki website here. And apparently you get a screen that looks like this. So you can kind of tell by the graphics a little bit, oh, this looks a little bit older than this, which looks a little bit older
graphic.
than this.
Graphic, I guess. Is that 2-bit graphic?
Yes, most definitely. And then you can see like there's some text here and some text here.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell in this view, but it's hard to tell in this view, but you would type commands here and you might have to figure out what the commands are. They're usually 1-word commands like north, south, east, west, or maybe 2-word commands like get some item, I don't know, like get key or something like that.
Get sword, get wand. And so it's clearly pre-Windows.
It looks like an MS-DOS kind of format, or like a Mac. Well, it's a Mac-based format, so or not. Early, exactly. It's early type technology.
Yep. Yes. So these kind of games like The Pawn, they were on that kind of technology, exactly, or like an old PC.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, very very MS-DOS or MS-DOS like, definitely.
Because I also remember something like this when I was playing Nintendo a long time ago. Wait, Nintendo was not the first one, but the one that was popular before Super Nintendo. NES? Yeah, NES.
Yes.
I remember playing games like that.
NES definitely has some games like that. Shadowgate is one.
That was the one I tried.
Nice.
I sucked.
All right.
I only got a little bit. I only got a little bit far through that. So you have remote escape rooms, which you have I'm sorry, there keeps being something I hear in the background, so I want to make sure.
My apologies. That's my supervisor. We're right now we're working.
Why didn't you
we're not working
until you talk, Linda?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So we have remote escape rooms. So basically that's something you can do from home as opposed to an actual escape room, which you would be doing in person. And I'll show you an example of actual escape rooms, but here's some examples of remote escape rooms.
Yeah.
And the first list here are some free examples. The Lost Escape Room, this one's a really good one to try out. You can do it either with yourself or with a group of people. And this is another example. This one, It uses a Google form. I'm not crazy about it, but I just know it's a good example to use so that you get an idea of what a free escape room could look like. Sometimes you pay for what you get for, right?
Yeah.
And this one here called Door to the Mansion, it's really good if you can solve some of the puzzles. So I forget the answer to this one, but if you solve this one, then the next or one of the next screens is like a clue board game, and you can click on like different rooms, and then you have to figure out like how to go from there. So it's really, really interactive for a free escape room. So in escape rooms, they follow the interactive fiction genre in that it's slow paced, but yeah, you're trying to solve puzzles. You're trying to do something as you go along. And this genre, it translates really well in a pandemic. You know, there's certainly some finagling with the communication, but being that this is a genre that I like, if I'm trying to maintain friendships or like run social groups with games or something like that, this is definitely something that I personally consider.
So there's not a solo way of doing escape rooms, is there? It has to be a group.
Solo? Oh, well, solo means you just go to the website and then you figure out the website on your own. Whereas if you're doing it with a group of people, you would be sharing it through the only ways that I've seen work. If you're doing it with only 2 people, you can use TeamViewer, yes, and maybe Discord, maybe not. The audio setting can get kind of tricky. If you're trying to do it with more than 2 people, you would have to have a paid Zoom account. I don't know any other way. Discord may or may not work. I know you can do a screen share with multiple people, but if you're trying to have multiple people, if you want to allow multiple people remote control access to actually click on the game themselves, then it might not be feasible if you don't have some kind of remote control software like Zoom or TeamViewer.
How about Twitch? Is that also an option or no?
Twitch has screen sharing options, but I don't believe it has remote control. So you might be able to use Twitch in combination with something else. So
it's kind of like Jackbox games. Jackbox is like where you have a website and then people could put in with their phones and, you know, play games that way. Nope.
Yes. That the general dynamic is the same for communication. Jack in the Box is a very different type of game. Because you're like competing against each other and answering questions, whereas with a remote escape room, you're trying to solve the game together. It's either co-op or on your own.
Yeah.
Here are some examples of paid escape rooms. There's one called Peruzo, which is 2D. And this website, these people, they made 2D escape rooms before the pandemic was a thing. So I thought that was interesting. But now that there's all this competition where there's like 3D escape rooms or escape rooms using like live cameras, like they will be there live to go around the room, but you would be working from your computer remotely. So a local one in media, which I like, at least when I've done it in person, they're offering 2 escape rooms, the ghost ship, and I think the classroom is the other theme, where they will use video cameras and you and whoever else would just do the escape room, but from your computer.
It's like a recent thing I saw where you could actually pay for a ticket and you could actually do a crane game online.
Sounds, wow.
Remotely.
Sounds similar. I'm not familiar with the crane game, but
you know, it's like the Japanese crane game where you literally, the UFO catcher.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
They actually have like visual things, right? Virtual things right now where you actually pay for coins and then they actually do it for, you're actually able to control the UFO catcher.
Wow, that's so cool.
Wow.
With Hourglass Escape, what they have, like, they have like software where it's kind of like you're playing a game, except you only have an hour to do it, and you're able to control a character or like a project or like an avatar. That's what I meant to say. So you're the live person, but you're controlling your avatar. An Hourglass Escapes Air Base in Seattle, Washington. And so these are some of their current themes when I made this slide.
Mm-hmm.
And so I thought that that was different. A lot of people, they don't use this method because you have to pay a significant amount of money if you're not able to develop the software yourself to allow people paying for the game to be an avatar and to interact with each other within that 1 hour to try to figure out what to do in that computer environment. So that stuck out as a little different.
Yeah.
And there was the reason I know about this here, that they're going to have a sci-fi theme supposedly sometime this month, is because they had a computer theme almost maybe like 9 months ago, and I tried to look for it recently and they took it down. I guess it wasn't doing well enough. So if this is a format that interests you for doing something remotely with a group, then you can consider one of these or possibly their future sci-fi game. And Project Avatar, that's a website. I'm not very familiar with it, but it sounds like it's similar to the Hourglass Escape Room. It's just a recommendation that I heard about in an escape room Facebook group.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And this one down here is a similar example to Escape the Room in media.
Yeah.
So I just tried to pick links based on the different types.
Mm-hmm.
I thought they were good, kind of a mix of both.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So if we were in a session where we could have a group of people participate, these are some of the games that I could currently play with a group of people, which I have been able to do before in remote groups that I'm in. So Armacrog, Neverhood, Botanicula, and these are some other ones. Adventure Escape Games was shown in one of the first slides.
Mm-hmm. And you helped me play some of Armacrog a little while back, and so I thought that was mainly a one-person game, or can it be multiple people playing at the same time?
Normally, it is a one-person game. The only way to truly make it more than one person, besides having a person actually in the same place you are, is literally sharing your screen. So it's like literally I'm taking a game that's normally solo and I'm kind of adding more of a co-op element to it.
Yeah. So you might be able to converse and say, I think we should click on that and things like that.
Exactly. And if you allow the remote control access, that also gives you the opportunity to share control. Like, I don't always have to be the one playing. If all three of us were playing through Zoom one of these games, I could be like, okay, I'm tired of clicking, or I don't want to click, or Sarah or Linda, I would like to give you guys a chance to play as well.
Yeah.
And I think those little nuances, like it gives everyone more of a chance to feel like that they're part of the group, and that they're not just there watching or just watching one specific person play.
Yeah.
And so I thought I took this top. Oh, I thought I took this slide up. I tried to split it up, and yeah, so we'll just skip that slide. Sorry about that.
No worries.
No, it's fine.
So this is a game that was discovered by a colleague because at work once a week for a while, we were doing like a game of the week. So, and yes, I was hosting a lot of those games, but one of my colleagues kind of tried this website on his own. And what it is if you go to it. You don't even need an account, but if you do, you can like save your stats or something like that. But you start from, so they'll give you like, they'll start you off on a wiki page with Paul McCartney, for example, and then you might have to find how to click on a web page to get to Ringo Starr.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, that's literally the game.
So like 6 degrees of separation type thing.
Yeah. Yep. Except it could be, it could be 3 degrees, or you might find the match in 100 degrees, and
Yeah.
it's timed, and you could compete against each other, or you could work on it together depending on how you set it up.
I can think of a single step between them, which would be the Beatles. So is that supposed to be an easy level and then you move on to more difficult levels?
I have no idea if there's any leveling on this website. All I know is it's free and you don't have to download anything. So that's what's nice about a lot of these options. You either don't have to download anything, or someone would have already downloaded it and it only needs to be one person. So
yeah.
So, but that means that it's just a text. So it could always be a text-based one, right? Without needing to download like anything like Flash or anything like that, right?
For some of these, yes,
Um,
definitely. Yeah, this one you don't need to download. You don't even need to download Flash, and I believe Flash is disabled now.
Yeah. It's just about dead.
One might argue this might not fit into the interactive fiction genre. I wasn't sure, but at the time I was making this PowerPoint, it kind of felt like different enough that I felt it was worth sticking on.
I think so.
You definitely have that creative element of like, it's kind of like a puzzle, but it's a very different format.
Yeah, I like that. I want to try that. Not right now, but eventually.
Sure. And I think we've mentioned this before. There's text-based adventures, and the website that's listed on this slide, there's a ton. It's a little bit hard to navigate. You might need to click on like some of these categories here to get some additional games to show up. I can't remember exactly how you get additional games to show up, but they'll show like a couple of pictures like this, and then to get more to show up, you really have to dig around the website. So there could be
Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
Yeah. That came
Yes.
after the books, right?
It came after the books. Gotta come after the books.
I think so. Yeah, I know there is a text-based adventure that exists. I don't know if you can find it on this website or not. I couldn't recognize any of the games that they had listed, but I think some of the games they had off of this website were less indie, and some of them were very indie or underground. But it's interesting how like there's actually a website for all these little things. So I don't know, it might have like a slight cult following sort of thing. And it's not for everyone either. It's very geeky, and you have to do like, the 1 or 2 word commands, and a lot of them, it's not like just being able to click here or there. So
Would you say it's like kind of like tabletop games or something like that?
I said that you're like typing 1 or 2 word commands in a lot of these games, rather than clicking on a different part of the screen to get from one place to another.
So yeah, it's more about the interface on the computer.
Interfaces. Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So it's as close to not being a Windows-based one as possible, if you are controlling things by typing words.
That's a great description, Sarah. Thank you. These are examples of choose your own adventure books. Choose your own is a specific genre, and my impression is it was the first genre of book that has been developed like this. I mean, there's other less popular genres now.
Yeah.
Choose Your Own Adventure has revived itself. Some of the authors from prior, they aren't with the new team, so I don't know if there was like disagreements between all the older authors, or maybe some of them are unfortunately not living anymore.
And the children's ones, at least, are available for borrowing from the Free Library of Philadelphia.
Yes, I could say for a fact that we have it. We have it in Northeast.
Ones, that is. Yeah.
Awesome.
I grew up, I was reading either Choose Your Own Adventures, or I was reading Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
That was a readable thing as well as a watchable thing?
It was a readable thing. And then, yeah, I liked that a lot when I was growing up.
I know it as a game.
Yes.
It was a book also. There wasn't a lot of books, but there was a book series.
Cool. So yeah, these are some examples of Choose Your Own Adventure books. In case you don't know what they are, basically you start off on the first page. On the bottom of the page, it might tell you to go to a different page. It might say turn to page 54, and then after you follow the sequence of pages that it tells you, on another page it'll give you choices. It'll say, if you want to do this one action, go to this page. If you want to do another action, go to another page. I don't think I have an example of the actual choices. I didn't think of that. So, but I'll keep that in mind if I have to do this presentation again. Or of course, if you just ask me personally, then yeah. Or if you just get a book yourself and look, then you can certainly see as well. So I'll just make note, Super Adventures in this series, they're the same as the regular books, except there are more pages. There are only 2 of them. This is what the second one looks like. And I have both of them somewhere, and I like it. I like the second one better than the first in terms of story. And 185 was not out for the longest time. You know how with like many different things, there's like information where something wasn't released, but it's like available, or it's just been stored away for whatever reason. And apparently there's enough demand for this hidden book that they finally just decided to release it.
Yeah.
So this is a quote unquote newer title, and it wasn't for a while, for I don't know for how long, probably for at least 10 years or so. They had the first 184 out, and then finally they decided to put out 185.
Cool.
I still need to read that one. And this one here is for children. It just kind of
educational.
Yeah, and it is educational. It's been a long time since I've read it, but yeah, it's kind of cool that they had a book like this out before, way before the pandemic.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that this particular one is for children, and all the rest are for teenagers. Here are some books for adults only. There's a reason why I didn't include the entire picture of this one here. So yeah, so kind of at your own discretion. And this one, like, just because it's in the same series, that's why I just kind of put it in the same category. You know,
and also as a warning, if you decide to look up Choose Your Own Adventure books to buy for your kids, be aware that they are not all for kids.
But most of them are for teenagers. Yeah. I think you have to look a little bit harder. So like I only found out about these because I was interested in something with more of an adult theme.
Yeah.
But these are kind of unusual, but something to be aware about. This book kind of sticks out as well on the right here, because there's some endings where there's no way to get to them. You just have to actually look at the whole book and be aware that they're that there are endings that are not available.
That's interesting.
The only reason I found that out personally, because I did read this book, is I have a weird system where I'll have like 13 bookmarks in one bookmark, and just based on where the bookmark is and which way it's facing, I'll know which page it refers to that I didn't read. So I don't personally have to remember exactly what choice I didn't choose.
Yeah.
Per se. Instead of reading both pages, I know immediately which page I need to start at the top of.
So your actual physical interaction with the book is different.
I actually remembered when I was reading Choose Your Own Adventures, I was reading it and I had bookmarks. Yeah, that was a good idea, right? But I also had a piece of paper and I scratched down which page, which choice did I make. So it was a linear kind of a thing I was reading.
Nice. I'm gonna just check the time real quick because I can't see it on the computer. All right, so we're still doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is really interesting.
Doogie Howser.
Yep. Yeah, so Neil Patrick Harris actually made a Choose Your Own Adventure book. And I think I saw a deluxe version at Target. So I'm like, it's Neil Patrick Harris and it's a Choose Your Own Adventure book. And it's a deluxe version. How could I not buy this? I think the deluxe version just has like extra magic cards in it.
Oh, there's magic cards too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because he might have been a fan. I don't remember, but
Well, I'm sure there's like some storyline in there where you play Doogie Howser. Even though I haven't had a chance to read it yet.
Yeah.
Maybe not. Yeah, he's done a lot.
If you can report back to us on that one, that's pretty interesting.
Sure.
Ooh.
oh,
There's a movie called Black Mirror, and I don't know why there's like, I guess there's stuff in the background because I don't know if I did translate this PowerPoint over, so I don't know if there was something on top of this. It looks like there was, and I didn't notice. So my apologies.
No worries.
But yeah, Black Mirror is supposed to be an example of basically a quote unquote choose your own adventure book in video form. But so yeah, instead of reading a book, you're watching a video and it allows you to click on something or push a button on a remote control. And I think it gives you like 90 seconds to decide.
Yeah.
I've never actually tried it, but I just heard about it. And I thought, well, this is different enough. It needs to be in a presentation like this.
Yeah, it really is.
I'll let you know because I have Netflix. So I'll let you know if anything happens. If I'll try it.
I have Netflix as well. I just haven't gotten around to it because there's so many things that we all want to watch, right?
Yes.
And Black Mirror is very popular, so people that like Black Mirror may already know about this. So if you like Black Mirror, and if you haven't seen this, and especially if you like interactive fiction or you're watching the presentation, then you should probably make it a point to put this on your priority list.
TV mature.
And what's hiding behind the link, what's hiding behind this, I apologize, I didn't notice that earlier. There's a Choose Your Own Adventure DVD called The Abominable Snowman. And it's geared for kids, but that's what's hiding behind the screen. So.
Yeah.
And from, I can't remember. Oh, I think this was a combination of, I think Sarah, you found one of these links and our friend Helen found another one.
Yeah.
So these are two websites where you can actually create your own interactive fiction book. There's some guides to allow you to put in choices and you can add more choices here. I haven't really tried it out myself, but I thought it was cool that there are things like this that exist.
So they're basically creating text-based interactive fiction things. It's not super visual.
It's kind of like storyboarding.
It's here.
Yeah. Maybe some of these websites, especially if they were to get popular enough, they might add a feature where you can add more visuals.
Cool.
And if there is already ones with such features, then I just don't know about them.
It beats having index cards.
That's true.
Because I also remember trying to do something like that when I was growing up.
I've heard that some people that have wrote these books, at least in the past, instead of like focusing on the individual choices, what they would actually do is write multiple versions of the same story, and then create choices and split it up based on doing that, rather than trying to incorporate the choices as you're writing. I guess you could do it either way.
Yeah.
Mostly I was just thinking about turn-based kind of scenario, like A and B, B, C, something D, C, D, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh.
This is a book off of a Kickstarter. I think the Kickstarter has just ended, but it's one of the hugest choose your own adventure books. So it's a physical book, and the theme is I believe, a survival theme where you're stuck. I think you're stuck underground or something like that. They have a preview video for the book. I think there's one main author and then one more sub-author for the book. It's a fairly small team, and it's a big production for a small book. They incorporated some RPG elements in it. So not only can you just make choices by reading the book, but sometimes certain choices can't happen unless you have such and such an item and things of that nature.
Do you think we could play the trailer?
You could play what?
Do you think you can play the trailer now?
Oh, okay. Let's see. I don't have it linked, so I'd have to look it up, but I could certainly do that. I could certainly look it up if you'd like.
Yeah, that might be fun, just to get a flavor of it.
Okay.
And then there were links to Helen's writing, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
is a member of an anime and manga group with me and Stan. And now with Linda too, you joined it as well.
Awesome.
Mostly do the BL one.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about.
Oh, okay, sure.
Yeah.
All right, I guess I'll start off looking for the video, give you guys a preview, and then I'll give Helen another shout out after that.
Yeah. It's quite a rich field of options here.
Yeah, a ton. Preview. I might have to go to the Kickstarter. I'm trying to see if there's like a. Here we go.
Over 100 years after the Ash War caused global collapse, the world is a hostile place. No one knows how many remain. You were born and raised like everyone you know inside the vault. It began sending expeditions to search the old world, make contact with anyone there, and record what they find with the hope that someday we could return to the surface. Now, it's your turn. In this open world adventure book, you will explore and document your journey through the old world. Everyone's path through Alba will be different, as each decision you make will unlock different locations, interactions, items, and endings. As you progress through the unforgiving landscape, you'll note the places you find along the way, gradually filling your map. As you conclude each chapter of your story, you'll choose where to go next. Alba is open for you to explore. You'll also track your own progress as the world of Alba changes you, tracking new skills, unusual items, and the effects of your choices on your character. All of these things will affect the choices you can make, changing your experience of Alba with each playthrough. With a wide range of unique endings, your decisions will impact every aspect of your character's journey through Alba. Alba is available as a budget paperback, which includes artwork from the talented Marco Luna, as well as a character sheet, map, and sticker set to document your unique journey through the shivering lands of Alba. Upgrade your experience with the special edition hardback of Alba, which includes 2 additional chapter locations to explore, as well as deluxe foiled stickers and additional exclusive artwork from Marco. Bring the Alba experience with you anywhere, on any device, with the interactive ebook. Compatible in every major e-reader format. The ebook is included for free with all physical copies as part of this campaign. Open world adventure books can be reread dozens of times, each read through resulting in an entirely different path through the story and the setting. Some decisions may feel small and inconsequential, but their effects can ripple profoundly throughout your journey. Recharge your experience with a full reset pack with character sheet, sticker pack, and map for another complete run-through without needing to buy a whole new copy. Are you ready to explore the dangerous new world of Alba?
That is pretty impressive.
Wow.
A video like that to advertise it.
Yeah, really good advertising, definitely.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, whoops. So this is a slide where some books. These are books that are written by Helen Hebel, a friend of Sarah's and mine, and the reason I'm giving a shout out to her is because we asked her to write a sample interactive fiction story. And originally we were thinking that we could have that be part of the presentation or an activity after the presentation. But now
it's helpful though to have this overview before we delve into the specific.
Yeah. So
Linda, did you want to talk a little bit about your experience with visual novels?
Oh, sure. Well, I've been playing for a little bit. Actually, I've been playing around the same time I started going to conventions. I'm not a really serious gamer by any chance, but I wonder if visual novels can be like a choose your own adventure as an interactive kind of a thing. So there's a lot of times where visual novels can be a romance stories, but it could also be like a crime story. I recently I was looking into the genre of what visual novel games is, because I was mostly looking at it as an option for my preferred platforms, which is either PlayStation, like Sony based, Nintendo based, or even my tablet, which is my iPad. Yeah. And a lot of the visual novel games are for either for free or they're ported into different console systems. So I'm like consistently buying the same game over and over again.
Oh man.
Is it like Phoenix Wright? Because I always find that Phoenix Wright, it's a large part of your presentation reminded me of when I was playing Phoenix Wright. because there was a huge it's either there's a game, but there's also some sort of a puzzle element that I need to try in Miles Edgeworth's story.
I'm not familiar with Phoenix Wright. Is it something I should?
Attorney.
It's an attorney, and then he starts the story out, and he tries to figure out who killed his boss. And there's oftentimes, as he's traveling through every scene, there's like an option that you could choose to look at the scene and see. You could examine contents, like, oh look, there's a part of the room that has like a hidden handkerchief or hidden paper, that sort of a thing. And then when you go into the courtroom, once they arrest the supposedly criminal, right, you have an option to cross-examine them, and if you don't do well in cross-examining them, the game could turn itself against you, kind of like turn itself and says try again scenario. So there's a lot of save functions. Visual novels is something I really, really enjoy a great deal, even though a lot of it is very superficial, because it's either a harem or a reverse harem. If you even want to think about that, because I got a lot of visual novels that is either 18 plus, which is not safe for any consumption. But there's also a great deal of, like, Clannad, right? Have you ever heard of Clannad, Stan?
Say that again?
No.
Clannad is kind of like because a lot of anime gets to start as a game of some sorts, and oftentimes it might end up becoming from a role-playing game. And so there's often a lot of a deep, like 4 hours plus of just reading a storyline.
Yeah.
And then
there's, I believe, Dramatical Murder started out as a visual novel, and then it became an anime, right?
Yeah, it did. So there's a lot of things that usually end up originally getting into an anime format. They would right now source from a lot of not just manga anymore. So oftentimes right now there's like I was growing up, I was thinking it's a trifecta kind of thing, where the manga turns into an anime series, turns into a live action. But then right now the property is also turning into a video game, or vice versa, all around it. And then there's products you could buy.
Yeah, I've consumed pretty much all aspects of the Revolutionary Girl Udina.
There might be a video game of that.
There is a
telling
video
the
game.
Story.
It's for Sega Saturn, which I think is not around
And
anymore.
I think Sakura Taisen probably has something similar to something like that as a visual novel, and it started as an interactive game kind of gameplay.
Yeah.
But then again, there's a lot of things. It really depends on how you look at it. It's either this is a storybook line. Visual novel is probably a storyline, but then there's also other aspects where it could either be like a book based or like a fiction or like a romance based. I'm sorry, my mind is just thinking about romance right now.
Oh, it is the week of February 14th.
Yeah.
Do you, of all of these great variety of games, is there one particular format that you especially enjoy, or do you just like all of them in different ways?
I'm trying. I think I personally prefer the video games as opposed to the books, just because I guess I've got a little bit of that instant gratification stuff in me.
Yeah.
So that's part of it. But then I do like some of the older games because I'm kind of used to the graphics in that. I do like the point and clicks kind of from like the 90s and up.
Yeah.
I like some of the more modern stuff because I do like some of the graphics and the storylines and the different things that you can do.
Yeah. I really like playing and now I'm going to forget his name. Anti-Prog
Armacrog.
Armacrog. But one issue I had with it is that my computer is very laggy, and so I could see that the game would be a beautiful immersive experience, but it is much less so if you have to wait for it to receive your message.
Is it a browser thing or is it an internet thing that
I think
buffers
it's
it?
an old laptop with a lot of programs on it, and probably an internet signal thing too.
Okay.
Activity thing.
So it doesn't have to do with operating system, Stan. It doesn't matter if you
No,
have an
that's
Apple.
not the issue.
Not the issue.
Or
okay.
how much capacity my computer has to do various things like TeamViewer or whatever at the same time as a high-powered website.
That's a good point you bring up, Sarah. Go ahead, Linda.
But so it doesn't have to matter if it's iOS or it's a PC, because a lot of games I was recently reviewing, right? And looking into, a lot of them for the visual novels I used to play, I don't have the system for it anymore because it's all PC game. It's all PC based games. So it's so I'm always thinking to myself, what is the iOS alternative, or is it just browser friendly, or is it just whenever you play visual novel, whenever you play the interactive fiction stuff, is it depending on your browser or is it depending on your platform?
I'd say browser is usually not as much of an issue. It's more platform based and operating system based, and then internet connection based. Yeah. So because these games are generally slow paced, they're not necessarily going to require as much power as some of the more popular genres and games like shooters with amazing graphics, and some of the RPGs where they're like a humongous team or teams of people developing this and that. I can't think of specific examples, but Call of Duty just runs in my head off at the top of my head. So that's like a very action-packed game where the graphics might be really, really good and intense.
Yeah.
So this is but the thing is that when you're doing escape rooms and stuff like that, it's all like a first person interactive, like you're looking at it dead on.
Pretty much, yes. I think with in-person escape rooms, and then that format being ported online as well, has added more of an additional element and given more people more options, so that it doesn't have to be centered on just one person. There's potential to create more of a co-op dynamic.
Yeah.
Wow.
One thing I've noticed in reading webtoons is that I'm seeing more and more ads for these games where you need to become the foremost concubine of the Sultan, or I mean, it can be romance related or other dynamics related, but it's clearly it could be a mobile game.
Yeah, definitely. All kind of games, and it's hard to keep track because some games are only in one format, some games are in others. Some games or parts of games might be like on Steam. So that's, if you have a Mac or a PC computer, Steam is a good website, a good like online store of games to get familiar with.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you about Steam. I have friends who are on Steam, but I've never played Steam myself. What would you think it's is the adventure escape room? Is this adventure room? Is that part of, and that's part of Steam, right?
There is one set of 4 games, and it's free as long as you download Steam, which is also free. Then you can play Adventure Escape Room on your own for free. Yeah. I could let's see, we have time.
4 minutes.
It's 3:56, so maybe not, since it's you have a hard stop at 4.
Yeah, we'll have to come back again. But one question that you had jotted down earlier, I think, Linda, was about MMORPGs. Stan, if you've done any of those, and if you've enjoyed them, if so.
MMORPGs is like pretty much massive online, so it's like what Stan was talking about when he mentioned about the interactive ones and the group ones.
Yeah.
I enjoy them somewhat, but I don't tend to play them as much because I already have so many interests. They tend to be a little bit faster paced for me. A lot of those type of games and a lot of RPGs in general, they tend to have like some fighting elements, and they don't necessarily focus on puzzle solving as much. Or maybe there's puzzle solving, but it's in a way that I'm not used to.
Yeah.
Our RPGs can be considered interactive fiction, but then I think there's more of a tendency not to classify them as that, just because there's a whole genre of RPG itself.
Yeah.
It's like, for me, it's like I actually like to just, I know probably people would say, no, it's going to definitely be an it's an RPG. It's not a visual novel. I don't know, because I just thought about it. A slow paced game, I would always think is like Professor Layton. I don't know if you ever seen that one. Professor
I'm
Layton,
not familiar with that one.
It's kind of like a professor and his assistants, and they go around, and it's like a math-based kind of riddles and all that. They solve, like, to advance the game, you have to solve riddles.
Okay.
And it's on Nintendo platform.
Oh, cool. That sounds like I feel like that would probably be an interactive fiction game. I think that would be the best category for that. And the game you described earlier, Phoenix, something that sounded like an interactive game as well.
Yeah.
Phoenix, right? There's a live action, there's an anime. The anime is on Crunchyroll. The live action is really good. And then there is a book series, which I can't read. Actually, there's a manga. There's a manga that was published a couple of years ago by Del Rey, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think we're out of time, right? It's 3:59.
We are just about out of time. So I want to say thank you very much to Stan.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you, Linda. Thank you so much, Sarah, for setting this up.
And if you could share the link, or would you be up for having us post the presentation online?
That's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I mean, that the PowerPoint as well as the video, I mean.
Okay, great.
Okay. Well, thank you so much. And we hope to see you again here.
Thank you, both of you as well. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.